It is Thursday, February 13th, the meeting of the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. I will go ahead and call it to order. Can you call it, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Keesling.
Here in a blue chair.
Noted, blue chair. Ms. Batter.
Here.
Commissioner Henry. Here. Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Stand for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started on the rest of the agenda, Auditor Ed Carroll asked if we could move his portion up. So we're going to be moving number 18 to between number 4 and 5. Next on the agenda is oath of office for members. After last month's meeting, I had a discussion with Commissioner Brand and realized that, to the best of my knowledge, none of us had been sworn in. So we decided that we needed to take an oath of office as members of this commission, and we worked with John and Danielle to get that together. Are you ready for that?
If you would like, we could do those towards the end so that I could print those. The delay got me to forget to print those, so Bill's gonna go print them for me and I'm sending them to him right now.
Okay, no problem. And then the minutes for January's meeting, these were probably the longest minutes we've seen. Thank you, Danielle. Did
Sorry.
everyone have a chance to read those?
Move approved.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Rob and second by Michelle. Call roll, please.
Keesling.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yep.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Okay, next. Mr. Harris,
Should I just stand here?
you come back wherever you are comfortable.
I'll come to right here. Thank you for accommodating my request to move up in the agenda. Basically, I presented to you, not the board, copies of the claims and the return check from the vendor who was overpaid. So essentially what occurred is, I came into office, there were no checks and balances or no way to prevent this from occurring. But we did find a feature within our product to prevent that, and that was the invoice field. So if you have the same invoice number, it wouldn't allow a duplicate check. However, as you can see on the first page of the first document, they actually entered two different invoice numbers, which would essentially bypass the checks and balances which is in place. And that's pretty much what occurred on all three checks. So the claim that was submitted actually had the incorrect invoice number on them. So when they entered all three of them, they were changed. So they're all different. So that's why to get through the system. We are going to do a couple of things differently. What we're doing now is on this particular claim, these are all submitted to us in a paper form. We're not going to allow paper forms to be submitted to our office because we have to enter them. That's one of the checks and balances that we're putting in place, is because we're essentially entering the department's claims. And what we should be doing is reviewing that and making sure the claims are correct. So going forward, we'll not be entering claims. They're going to be required to submit those electronically. That's how the system will detect it and make sure it doesn't go through. We're going to be coming out with another checks and measures, but I'm not going to release what that is yet. Part of it because it's going to directly affect all of the department heads. I'm going to explain that to them the first of next month. We've been testing with this for about 3 months with the vendor so that they'll hopefully prevent these kind of things. So that's just another step we're going to require the departments to take in order to prevent these things from occurring. Do you have any questions?
I do.
We did receive the check back, it's all paid in full, and it's been applied in the balance of that particular fund for that TIF, so you should be good.
That was my first question. So basically, this invoice got paid 3 times, once correctly and a second time on the same day. There was an error due to this data entry error, right? And then it was paid a 3rd time. What happened the 3rd time? The same thing? They entered
Same
the
type of
invoice
thing.
wrong? So human error, they entered the invoice wrong.
Right.
Okay, so your change is gonna be that when somebody creates a pay request in VIP, this is not gonna be printed manually and come to your office to be re-entered.
Right,
It'll stay in VIP and you guys will approve it in the system.
right,
Okay, so we'll have to retrain quite a few people.
possibly. I mean, that's the way the system is now. The majority of the claims are submitted electronically. So they scan these in, and then they enter it into VIP, so all this data is entered by the department, and then submitted to us, and we review it, and either approve it or send it back to be corrected.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 2025 bids for mowing DCRC owned properties.
Yes, we submitted to everybody the RFP for mowing the properties. I got a list of the properties that the redevelopment commission has mowed in the past from Brad. It's, properties on Calvin Road that the redevelopment commission owns, near the post office. The northeast corner of, Morton Road, Bethel, which is under a contract, it could be developed here shortly. And then it was, the other one escaping right now, but it's on the, schedule of the RFP. So I think, with one minor correction, the RFP is ready to go. I saw something last night, so, just one small correction, and it'll be ready to go out. I know I've received one inquiry from someone that wants a copy of it. I'm happy to send it to them, and we'll send it out to the previous vendor, I think it was J. Crew and some other vendors. And we'll get it posted on the, get it posted on the website.
I didn't see a copy of that. I probably missed it in my email. Has anybody else seen that RFP?
We sent it out, didn't we? If we did,
I don't recall seeing it either.
okay, then, in the hubbub of everything else going out, I will send it out to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I make a motion to table this until we can review, and once reviewed, we should be able to get George Struble some electronic tool, let the RFP out to the public. Second.
Do we wanna try to approve that on seeing it and then let that go out? I mean, we're looking at March, second or third week of March.
Yeah.
We're gonna start
When
getting,
would the first mowings happen for the season? He's making a good point.
I mean, usually not till the first of that, but here lately with the weather, it's been closer to April, so.
So you make a good point,
you want to get,
timing wise.
Let's mowing in March.
I don't wanna wait till the next.
You can approve it pending any modifications via email after you've reviewed it. Like if you have any comments that need updated, you can update those and approve it.
per
pending
email?
Okay, then I withdraw my motion to table. And make the motion to approve pending the review report. Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Brand, second by Rob. Call roll please.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yep.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Mr. Keesling.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Alright, number 6 on the agenda, Houston Road and funding. Tommy, you're up.
Yeah, good morning. To give you guys all a map, there's a couple roads, yep, that map right there. There's a couple roads out in that SIP district that actually need some attention. It's gonna be Fuson Road. As you follow the first one, it's gonna be Fuson where it comes from the railroad tracks, all the way around over to where the cemetery is by Breezewood. That's where NDOT takes over. I mean, the road's starting to get in some shape right now where it actually needs some attention before we have a lot to fix on it. The other section is on 300 South. It's gonna be it's 300 South. It's gonna be Old 3, which is Walnut. It's gonna be a short section. It's where Woolahan Lumber used to be, back to Walnut.
That's the red highlighted.
Yeah, the red, yes, I'm sorry. The drainage, I drove the fields when they were closed and checked all the drainage that I could on the black areas. Everything looked good from the truck, but even if a culvert went bad there, they would be slip lined, they would not be dug out. They're so deep that they would never, it would be cheaper to slip line them in the future than try to dig them out. So drainage is no issue on these roads. It's some roads, like I said, most of our roads out there at the tip have been really good to us. And they've kept those roads in really great shape out there. And it's just something I want to bring in front of you all and something for you to think about.
You have an estimate on what this will cost?
Yeah, the first part of it, which is the long part, which will be what's in black, is $889,793.18.
Say that again, Tom.
Okay, it's gonna be $889,793.18. The short section will be $190,131.58.
Is that mill paved, mill and?
Mill and pave, it'll be a 2-inch mill. Yeah, those roads need to be milled down, to keep everything, all the drainage and everything in line. You know, this is just a quote. You know, this is not a bid or anything like that. And everything that we run through you has to go out for bid. So this is just a quote proposal that kind of gets you close about what it's going to be.
It would be equivalent to an engineer's estimate, Tommy.
Excuse me?
It'd be equivalent to an engineer's estimate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tommy, how's that time out with the roundabout construction? Is that next year?
See, I don't really know a whole lot about the roundabout construction there. I don't know. That's kind of, I'm out of that circle. So
I heard what you did there with circle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm out of that circle in the circle, yeah.
In the past, excuse me, in the past, have you guys done any of the work that's been paid for?
Yeah, we have. We've done like over on the White Road, Drum Edition, parts of Breezewood. Yeah, we've been in Breezewood.
This price, this projected cost, is that with you doing the work or is that?
No, it's gonna have to be with them because we do not mill. We do not.
I get that, but could they mill and you pay?
No, this is all just a quote.
I understand that.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm asking, could you hire the milling out?
Yeah, we
You
probably,
guys-
yeah, we could. Absolutely. It would save some more money. I don't have a problem with our paving. You know, I have paving companies all the time say, you guys do this, we do. Jimmy Evans, who used to run Calumet. I mean, so I don't have a problem with us paving it.
I'll be honest with you, I'd like to see the cost of milling with you guys paving it.
Okay.
That's what I'd like to see, and then, I really think the board needs time to review the tips to,
Okay,
make sure we have
yeah, I'll
enough money.
I'll get with Troy and I'm sure we can save money that way. And I don't think there's gonna be anything in there that's gonna be tricky like blanket or any blanket material or anything like on the concrete, so I think we could probably save a lot of money here.
It's just not.
I agree 100%. And, you know, we do need time to review the tips. I'm looking at the 2024 and 2025 right now, and it looks like our expected revenues are lower than anticipated, so I don't know if people aren't paying their taxes
Right.
or what's going on. We need to review this, and then I believe at the next meeting on March 13th, Baker Tilly, Matt Eckerly will be here to present the 2025 bond report. I'm currently reviewing the 2024 bond report, which is about 100 pages. I'm not seeing the revenues that we anticipated.
I take it that was a motion to table by
It was,
Commissioner Henry and a second by Commissioner Frank.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what
That's
it
what
is.
it sounds like to me.
yeah. There's a motion to table, but like I said, I do want to see.
Yeah, we'll get to you all,
Okay,
so you'll have it.
thank you.
Yeah, I'll get pretty quick too, so.
Can you call roll on that, please?
Yes. Ms. Babbage,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Alright, number 7 on the agenda, Yorktown Downtown Development Assistance and paving requests. Hello, Jace.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate being higher up on the agenda there. I have to leave here shortly, so thank you. With the downtown development assistance, the town is currently working through a EDA with a potential developer for the 4 blocks behind town hall. In previous scenarios with the Oliver building, the county has provided some assistance with that project. With our current EDA and kind of getting our numbers down, originally we had a $6 million gap, which was unfortunate and not really able to be filled. So we pursued the Lilly Endowment grant, which we were not granted, and pursued a READY grant. We received $1 million on the READY grant, which brought our gap to about $5 million. Through some talks with our financial advisor and some engineering there, we were able to get that number down to around $3 million now. That's kind of where our current gap is sitting. We're just at this point kind of knocking doors and seeing if that $3 million is able to be filled. So I don't have a request at this point for the board, but it is a 117 unit building with some commercial facing the Civic Green, and we estimate that it'll bring in about 160 to 170 people. Generally speaking, those rents there bring in people who make about $80,000 a year, so it is a significant investment for the community, but also would likely bring in a lot more local income tax and things along those lines. So something that we'll bring to the table later. As far as the 2025 paving request, last year we were approved for the Eisenhower Road project assistance from the commissioners here. That total was $104,588.88. That was already approved. I just wanted to give you an update that we expect that project to start the last week of May. It'll require a short closure of the western side of Eisenhower for a stormwater repair that requires a road cut. I figure if you give us all money, we should give you updates on where it's going and how those projects are, right? So there's that. Moving forward, the traffic study agreement and preliminary engineering work at Tiger Drive in the sum total of $88,620. That contract was approved by my council at the Monday meeting. That project is really needed for us just because it'll help us get traffic counts, pedestrian counts, get ourselves to a schematic design with right-of-way, utility issues, and some land acquisition requirements. We can essentially approach the school and maybe any adjacent landowners and tell them kind of what the plan is for that intersection of Tiger Drive and River Road. I think if any of you have driven through there during a school time, we can all agree it's a problem. It kind of poses a public safety issue for us as well because Tiger Drive is one of 2 ways to get across the river in Yorktown. So the goal of that study is really to get us a good budget because we want to pursue federal funds. Obviously, we want to go after that kind of 80-20 split, getting on the transportation improvement plan with the MPO. And really, we want to have a 20-year fix for that intersection. So our request with that is like $88,000 is generally our total year expense for engineering. We were hoping that the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission would split that cost with us. We know that we like to have partners in these types of projects. It seems overall to be a good project for the community. So that would be my request there.
So with the traffic study, you're requesting half of the 88,620.
That is correct.
I
to about a 10% engineered drawing, so it would basically figure out what that intersection improvement needs to be, whether it's a roundabout or additional blister lanes or turn lanes, all of the above. Those sorts of things.
Okay. I have a question. I watched your council meeting last night.
Yep.
And you can absolutely correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression was that your council agreed to fund this entirely?
My council has signed the contract for it, correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Were they aware that you were approaching us as well?
I did make them aware, but I told them essentially that if this didn't happen here, that we would go for an additional appropriation. Cause our budget can't sustain this along with the other roadway projects we currently have, so we would need to do an additional appropriation to fund it.
Anybody have any other questions?
I guess for me, it comes back to waiting on the Baker Tilly report before we start making these kind of disbursements. I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second the motion with a comment, an additional comment. You know, the intersection, I agree, it's a safety issue, but I don't believe that's the bottleneck. The bottleneck is the ability for kids to get out of his cars fast enough at the school. And if, let's say you put in a roundabout, then you're just gonna have traffic sitting in a roundabout, waiting on the bottleneck for kids to unload at the school. So something would have to be done there. Now, if you're gonna put in additional turn lanes or blister lanes, now you've got your parents waiting in a side lane and traffic can still move. I get that. But, you know, I wouldn't think a roundabout would solve that situation, so.
Yeah, that was kind of why we wanted to get the traffic counts and just kind of see, one, where the turns are coming from. I mean, I can go out there and tell you my thoughts. It's a little bit more convoluted than a three-stop intersection, just because there's all of those in and outs of different parking lots, and there's also a trail. There's a trail, there's a storage unit, business across the street. And, you know, this is really looking at a 20-year growth model. My long-term goal would be that every kid rides the bus and that goes to Yorktown is a Yorktown resident, but that's not currently what it is. About 20% of our students are from outside of Yorktown, so that leads to traffic congestion. Want me to move on to the next piece? The drainage project?
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to table that portion, I'm sorry. You follow along, please.
Sure. Commissioner Keesler,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Batters,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
All right, I feel like this one's gonna go similar, so I'll give my pitch and then we'll let it go from there. So last year we approached, the commission about an issue on Jackson Street. It was kind of brought to our attention by the folks down there at Knack. It's just west of Knack. I actually sent out the drainage report, so I think you all should receive that. The town thinks it's in our best interest to pursue alternative number 3, which got kind of a quick rundown of the different types of stormwater pipes yesterday, so I'm gonna regurgitate that information. It's essentially a perforated pipe would be the preferred drainage method. It's a slower drainage solution, meaning it won't overflow any of the system further south. The estimated capital cost of that right now is $93,500 with an additional soft cost of $37,000. That's the engineering bid documents as well as inspection as the construction is going on, for a grand total of $130,500. Currently, the town brings in about $80,000 a year for stormwater projects, so you can kind of see how the math isn't in there on this project. And so again, we were going to pursue some assistance with the capital portion of that project. We have standing water next to a destination restaurant that we'd like to get fixed.
Can you remind me what, I remember this coming up last year. Can you remind me what we approved, if anything, regarding this project?
You funded the study to
Okay.
see if there was
So
a
I was
solution.
just asking him, I said, I know we did something with
Yeah.
this before and I couldn't remember remember
Yeah,
what.
Trying to think back to October.
You
and
funded
November
the
is-
study that is in front of you right now, which is what I kind of thought was appropriate. If you pay for something, I feel like you should get a final product for it, and so that was the piece that's been funded so far.
Do you remember how much that was?
24-ish.
Those are requests for us to pay for the whole thing.
No, I was really wanting to come again in front of the commission and be a partner on this. I think the town, out of the 130,000, that is kind of estimated at this point, I think the town can fund half of it in one budget cycle. If we were forced to fund the entire thing, we would have to do no stormwater projects this year and do it next year. And then that would be our one project for 2 years related to stormwater, so. Kind of where we're sitting financially.
Any other questions, comments?
I believe this is in the same boat where everything else is sitting right now.
That's kind of what I figured.
Take it out of the table. Motion.
It does meet some potential.
I don't disagree. I just wonder if we can maybe work with the surveyor office and some others to try to get an interim solution in place if we can't fund it.
We have a motion by Brand.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Brand, second by Rob. Can you call roll, please?
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Matters,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry. Yes. Mr. Keelan,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is discussion with members for the future of 23rd Street Trail Project, BS Engineering.
Yes. So we have been working on the 23rd Street Trail, which is from Cowan to Garkey. Those plans are ready to go. They're done, ready to bid it. We had an issue with a railroad parcel. Actually, the railroad's totally gone, but they still own the parcel. We have adjusted the design so that we do not impact that parcel, which means we do not need to take from that property. We are also in coordination with the railroad for the first phase that was constructed. There's still the section for the crossing of the railroad on Cowan to be addressed. An item at the time, we didn't have that information on it. There is structures that are within the railroad right of way on that we now need to negotiate with them, that were put in as part of the project. They're not very happy with that. And also they are asking for Z gates. I believe the commission has said in the past no to the Z gates. They're asking for those again. We've addressed pretty much all the rest of their comments. Again, we'll have to negotiate the structures that were installed in their right of way. But that's where we're at with the negotiation on that crossing. And I believe that's what's also, we were waiting for that before bidding out the whole project. I'm not entirely sure on that.
You said Z gate?
I believe that's right. Yeah, Z gate.
What is that?
So it's essentially a gate that sort of unfolds. It looks like a Z when it does so to cross over the pedestrian crossing. So that basically it's a railroad arm stopping pedestrians from going through when there's a train.
And when you said the commission was opposed to that, what do you mean us?
I believe so. I'm new to not new to the project, but I was not involved with the first phase of the project, the one that is constructed.
I don't remember it either.
I
That
don't
could
require
be before us. so.
This is a real spur, right?
It's still there.
Yeah, this particular project's been on for a long time. We had a significant delay trying to get someone from Norfolk Southern to respond to us, because dealing with the railroads worse than dealing with the federal government. And everybody we were told to talk to wouldn't call us back, so we sent a rather terse letter to the members of the board of directors.
I remember that letter being
Yeah.
sent late
Yeah,
last
that was
year.
all part of that, yeah.
Okay.
So that put us on hold for about a year, just trying to get somebody from Norfolk Southern to return our call, so. That's why this is kind of an old project.
So the Z gates, is that something that'd be funded by the railroad or by the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission?
I believe everything is funded by the commission. Railroad bases, like this is our property, you can do what we ask.
I mean,
And that, my understanding that when we were tasked with kind of bringing this back to light and making sure the crossing was completed was the commission had originally approved to pay for the completion over the railroad. But when they hit, I think there were some people that had left this project team from Norfolk Southern. Then some commission members were not the same here. And then the engineer team that was working on it, some people had left from there, and then it kind of just died. So I think you guys had originally approved to pay for the completion of this. It just never got finished, so it's coming back up and is still part of the original project you had approved way back before my time in working on it.
I'd like to see a copy of the original.
Yeah, I would too.
And those gates make perfect common sense to me. Why wouldn't you wanna alert pedestrians?
I agree with you. I would like to see a cost of adding the gates.
And then, sir, did you say that the 23rd Street's being held up pending the direction of the Cowan?
Well, for the longest time, it was while we were trying to negotiate with, there's also another railroad parcel. And we were trying to put in a trail that was basically consistent across as much separation as possible for safety of pedestrians. When it basically came to light that this negotiation was not fruitful, we then looked at a different design. We came up with one. The separation is less. It's still, though, a safe location, safe trail, and it's a very small parcel. So essentially, I think it's Red Dog Saloon where the existing trail ends. We're just doing a little dip down and then back up, just so we don't have to acquire from that parcel.
Was that a motion and a second? I'll second.
Yeah, we want to see a copy of the original proposal.
That's including the cost to,
Put up a Z gate.
put the Z gates in and complete that trail.
That's right.
Yes.
Let me just, for the purpose of the record, let me restate the motion. The motion is to table the, request on the 23rd Street Trail project so that we can get a copy of the original proposal and also get a copy or a cost estimate on the Z gate for this, right?
And, go ahead.
And the completion.
And schedule of completion, right?
Yeah, right.
Right, and schedule of completion.
And cost, yeah.
And maybe the Z gates will be in that proposal, because he says that they've always been asking for them, and we maybe said no.
Yeah, it's been negotiation. And so what we gave was an updated design for it, so we have to increase the asphalt a little bit to make it consistent across at the location. So yes, we get the cost estimate of all the elements associated with that.
I think we were all emailed the plan.
Okay, so the motion was Commissioner Brand, and then the second was Michelle Patterson.
And who's going to provide that? VS? Who's going to provide that original packet?
I can look and see what we have on our server. I know Brad was the one mostly taking care of that back then. I will see what I have, and then we can coordinate with each other. I know when we started conversations, when we finally got a hold of Norfolk Southern, an original packet was sent to them of where things stood. So I at least have, when we kind of geared this back up, I know I have that packet in email. I will forward and I'll see what all was in that and see if that answers some of the question, and then we can work together to see, what other documents are missing from that packet and get it.
Commissioner Henry, were you suggesting we get updated numbers from BS?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So that updated final cost so Danielle doesn't have to dig as much, and its costs have probably changed in the past 2 years.
Roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Keesley,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Bathurst,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Next on the agenda, Isaiah 117 house, looking at an addendum to the development agreement.
We've been in discussion with Isaiah House, they need a, what? Oh, okay, Anna's here too, okay. There was some issues about getting permits from the state for construction, as well as, getting started and then getting all the various permits and whatnot, approval. So we were asked to have a resolution 2025-01 and addendum to the economic development agreement, just to extend out the deadlines that were originally proposed. Those were delays that were not anticipated by either side. It seemed appropriate to give them an extension so that they get all the permits in place.
Do you have anything to add?
I just wanted to give a little update. So we were able to break ground on January 17th. It was a great event. We had more than 130 community members come out on one of the coldest days of the year, so that was pretty great. And as far as the permits go, from the state, the only real change is the need for an indoor fire system, sprinkler system, which adds to the budget, but that was the only difference. Yeah.
Make a motion to extend the agreement as presented to this body.
Second.
Motion by Rob, second by Commissioner Henry. Can you call roll, please?
Just so I can get a clarification, you're approving resolution 2025-01 and the addendum to the development agreement. Oh, it's the same one. Okay, correct.
And so I'm clear, this is to be extended no later than January 31st, immediately following the end of the addendum. And the end of the addendum is when?
When you sign, I think we extended it 1 year from the day you signed it.
Because I see an additional 12 months from the date of this addendum. And I see the language shall be extended no later than January 31st, immediately following the end of the addendum. I might be overlooking it, but I'm seeing dates. Timeframes.
Thanks.
Was it Amanda or Sheila? Or Sheila?
Hannah.
Hannah, do you know when this was originally intended to end?
The end of January.
Yeah, it was the 31st of this year. The idea was to extend it an additional year from
To January
2 weeks ago.
26.
26.
January 31st to 26. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Mathers,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Absolutely.
Mr. Keesley,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Okay. Next on the agenda, Project Jonesy discussion. Update cost for abatement analysis from Baker Tilly, approximately $3,000. We should all have that email as well.
I'd like to caution the board that some of us signed NDAs in an executive session, and I would be really careful with the amount of information to share publicly here. This is a competitive project.
So the issue for the board would be consideration of approval of the Baker Tilly study, the additional study, $3,000. And I think the discussion was that that would be discussed with the applicant to split that cost. So it'd be $1,500.
Make a motion, we proceed with that proposal to split the cost of the study with the applicant, with the understanding that the redevelopment commission, the county, and the town of Albany also received the results of that study.
Second.
By Rob, second by Shannon. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Keesley,
Yes.
Ms. Mathers,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. don't see Kyle here.
I didn't ask him to come, I mostly wanted to give an update. You guys have mentioned getting your own, website on the county's webpage. Amber and I have talked about this, and, Kyle is going to work on this. Amber has volunteered to help him with that, and it was more just informational purposes. And, we haven't had a chance to do that. He has asked us for some content to put up there, some information about, what the redevelopment commission does. So we'll be working on that and get more content up for people to see what we're about, but we're in the process of getting that all worked out, so just an update.
I just have a comment with that. I talked with Danielle and I did request that we have a deadline from anyone approaching the board to be the Friday before, so that way we can receive the agenda and the packets early. And once we get this website going with Kyle, I would like to see the agenda and the packets posted to that portion of the website. It would just be a section on the county's website that already exists. But I received a request for the agenda yesterday before it was updated, so I know there is public interest in it, so having those posted. Ideally, I would like to have those posted by Tuesday prior to our meetings, so I will discuss that with Kyle as well.
All for it.
Next on the agenda, Cowan Sidewalk Project,
Good morning. We had provided an updated cost analysis for the project. There are still 3 phases that remain to be constructed. If the commission and the county decide to move forward, phases 2, 3, and 4, we broke the cost down, the construction cost down for those. All 4 phases have already been designed, so there are no more expected costs there. And if you do proceed with phase 2, we anticipate 3 parcels potentially need to be acquired. So those costs have not been accounted for yet, under contract at least. So if you would move forward with phase 2, we would probably come to you with an agreement to acquire that, if you needed our services for that, to acquire those 3 parcels. And there's a possibility you could actually eliminate one of those parcels if you don't put a curb ramp in at one of the corners. You'd still be within ADA standards, but there's a potential cost savings there.
Anyone have any questions? We're looking at moving forward with phase 2. Michelle makes a motion to proceed with phase 2, correct? Okay.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Keesling.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yep.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and, would you like for us to prepare the land acquisition contract, or would you prefer to do that on your own? Do you have a preference there?
You've done the land acquisition contract for phase 1, correct?
The first phase, I don't recall if we had to do one on the first phase. We have, on phase 2, you may need to acquire 3 parcels. So those, we have not gone under contract for those yet.
Yeah, I say, let us see a contract on that.
Okay. If you decide to go a different route with it, you don't need to execute the agreement, but we'll prepare one, have it ready for you if you want to use it.
Okay.
Thank you. One.
I think they've done that in the past.
Okay, I thought so too. I just wanted to be sure. Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, Sheriff.
Good morning, thank you. On your agenda, there's actually a correction I need to make. The vehicles we're requesting are not 23 Dodge Chargers. They were originally, the ones we're requesting are 2025 Dodge Durangos. The Charger request came in, and then I talked to Commissioner Brands, and he asked, and that was from a dealership in Ohio, and he asked me to shop local, so we did, and the Durango quotes came in at about $1,200 more than the Chargers, but what we got for that $1,200 was 2 model years newer, going from a Charger to a Durango, which is more interior space, an increased factory warranty. The Chargers have a 3-year, 36,000 warranty. The Durangos have a 5-year, 60,000 year warranty, or 60,000 mile warranty. And then both of the cars, both of the vehicles are V6, all-wheel drive and pursuit package. So, you know, they compare there. So we get a lot, and the fourth thing we get from that is we're buying local. The quote comes from Gaddis. So that's what we're asking for. The agenda has a pretty good breakdown on the equipment that we're asking for. Nearly $5,500 each, and that includes all of the lights for the vehicles, all of the mounts, all the wiring, all the labor. It also includes laptop cradle for those vehicles. Really everything that the police car needs for lights, sirens, and all that. It also includes marking, you know, the striping of the vehicles. So I would entertain any questions that you have about that.
I believe, Sheriff, I believe they also all-wheel drive, aren't they? Are they not?
Yeah, they're all-wheel drive.
I thought I saw that. That'll make a big difference
Yeah.
too versus the Chargers.
Well, the Chargers were too.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. The Durangos are just a lot better. We had talked before we got the quote back from Gaddis, and we were going to be in a position to where if we got the Chargers, we weren't going to be able to issue those to, like, for example, any SWAT team members or a lot of the crash team members, because they carry so much equipment that they won't fit in the Chargers. I mean, it would take up all the trunk space and most of the back seat space. But with the Durangos, historically, a SWAT team member can fit all of their equipment in the back and still have the back seat, you know, available for transports or equipment or for whatever they need it for. So the SUVs really do work out better for us.
So this could be spread across all the 10 districts then?
Yes.
This is the problem. I don't have a problem funding this. You guys, the sheriff's office, I've been here for 10 years, and the sheriff's office has come to either the commissioners or the redevelopment commission to buy cars. I know you bought cars yourself as well.
Yeah.
Sheriff's Department, correct me if I'm wrong, is budgeted $49,000 a year.
$52,000 a year.
$52,000 a year. And that's not enough.
That's not even close to being that.
And I'm asking council to look at that budget, to increase that budget, put it in a non-reverting fund so it can carry over next year. And in 2 or 3 years, if they put $100,000 in that, in 3 years they have $300,000, we might be able to make a decent purchase.
Sure.
But something has to change. You have to have a vehicle replacement program in place. And so I want to try to, all of us work with council, work with you guys to try to make that happen.
Well, and to go along with that, in just the last 2 years, in 2023 and 2024, the sheriff's office, we purchased 15 new vehicles ourselves out of commissary money from the jail. At no expense to the commissioners, and no expense to the county, and no expense to the taxpayers. We've done that ourselves just to maintain.
But that's still, I mean, it's still not. It's not enough.
And that number, Sheriff, according to the documents you provided, just for the public's record, $667,000 approximately that you purchased vehicles that the
In 2
taxpayers
years.
didn't pay for. Right. Research showed that maybe there were some oil cooler issues on these Durangos.
Sure. There were problems last year with the police package, oil coolers. Those problems have been resolved. We spoke to, a couple of us at our agency have spoke to Steve Gaddis directly about that. The problems have been resolved, but in the event that they rear their ugly heads again, they will put us first in line and take care of all of them. Just replace them all right up without any question.
How many vehicles do you currently have sitting that are not able to be used? used.
So, of our entire fleet, currently we have 7 vehicles that are classified as decommissioned. Some of them don't even run, or they've been crashed, or they're so old that they have problems. It's just not worth putting more money into them. They're a money pit. So we have 7 that are classified as decommissioned. We have 4 that are in the shop for repairs, and most of those are because of minor vehicle damage, crashes. We also have 19 in our fleet. 6 of those 19 are on the road, patrol vehicles that have over 100,000 miles on them. So
How many over 100,000?
19 total, and that doesn't include the transport vans. But 6 of those 19 are either investigators or patrolmen that are working every day.
Not necessarily related to this topic, but Commissioner, we're doing that vehicle asset inventory. There are a lot of vehicles that are sitting just like at the sheriff's department. I don't know if we're paying license plates and insurance on these things, but we need to get them auctioned off. And I don't like that government auction situation that we're using. I would prefer to get all the vehicles out to the highway garage and all the equipment out there and have a local auctioneer auction that stuff off, and then put that money in some sort of maintenance fund, or maybe this fund reverting fund that you're talking about, so we can fund the repairs and the replacement of these vehicles properly. That's, to have that many vehicles with 100,000 miles is not acceptable.
The request then, Sheriff, and to your point, those 23s, they don't rest getting better. Vehicles resting is a waste of money. Sounds like request to divide the 25 out of all the TIF funds as presented, and I'll make that motion.
One more quick comment, looking at the TIF funds, I think the Magna Bond, maybe the Morrison TIF has some money in it, the Magna Industrial, Midwest Metal, and Progress Rail, is that PRO, Progress Rail TIF? Maybe those ones that I have highlighted.
Yeah.
Pink there might be where it comes from, that one's a problem, I'm gonna bring that up later. So, we have a motion in a second.
And what I had told Commissioner Brown yesterday, typically when we spread these across here is we look at the higher 3, 4 tips, and so I had told them, those were the ones that currently from what we were seeing have the most money sitting there, so that was my recommendation to take it out of those 4 tips, so.
I think it makes sense, these vehicles control the whole county, TIF bonds are spread across the county.
I have a question real quick before we call the roll. Is the number here on the agenda correct for your request?
45,
345, 645, 44.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I was making sure that wasn't the only. So if you could call roll on that motion second, please.
Ms. Bowers?
Yes.
Mr. Keesley?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Brand? Yep. Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll get with Gavin, get these orders. He said 10 to 12 weeks, most likely. So I'll work with somebody off the record about, how you think. Thank you.
Thank you for shopping.
Next on the agenda is target industry study.
Yes, good morning. I'm Tracy Lutton with the Muncie Delaware County Economic Development Alliance. I'm here to introduce the project to you today, not to seek funding unless you feel compelled to grant funding today. But I really want to just inform you of a target industry project that we are initiating in 2025. Really, this is a deep dive, data-driven analysis of our existing industry base. I'm not talking specifically about advanced manufacturing. This can include logistics, agriculture, healthcare, tech, all the sectors that we have here. And the purpose is really to identify opportunities within those industries that we might be well suited for, thinking about the jobs and the investments of the future. A target industry study is really a best practice in economic development. It's something that we have traditionally done every 10 to 15 years, and it has been longer than that. So we're past due for that. There is a regional study that's underway. It doesn't quite align with what I envision as our footprint that we should be looking at, but that study will help to inform the outcomes of the one that we're looking at. So some of the things that we hope to achieve with this is really to identify some high potential industries. Maybe that can inform some policy decisions. We can set the table to allow growth of these industries or jobs of the future. It can inform skills gaps that we might have in our community currently. And I have a whole host of measurable outcomes that we can associate with this project. So I have sought proposals from 5 different vetted, reputable economic development consulting firms for this project. I put together an ad hoc committee of folks from Ball State, Ivy Tech, George and Francis Ball Foundation, and others to help us look through these proposals and decide which one is the best for our community. I would welcome participation from anyone on the commission. If anybody's really interested in this and would like to look at those proposals, I would welcome your feedback. In the next 30 days or so, I'll be pulling together that committee. We'll look at the proposals, we'll put together a scoring rubric, and we'll choose a consultant that we think is best suited for our specific needs. I have submitted a proposal for a grant to George and Francis Ball Foundation, and I've been talking with them all through this process on their support of this. That grant request is for $50,000. The proposals I received, frankly, I had a little sticker shock, ranged from about $50,000 to over $100,000. So I have a gap, even if I get the full grant from George and Francis. So I would potentially be seeking some support of the Redevelopment Commission at a future meeting, but I just wanted to come and introduce the project to you today, so I'm not coming in cold and you know nothing about it. So there are conversations to be had outside of this meeting. I'd be pleased to meet with anybody. I want this to be a really transparent process. I think it's a great project for the community. But really, the real work comes with the implementation, and so that's going to take a lot of partnership too. So open to any questions you might have. If not, that's all I have today.
I'd be interested in seeing those proposals, so thank you for offering that.
Okay, great.
I would as well.
Okay, I will.
I'll join the crew.
Everybody gets a copy. I'll just
Only if you
send
have blue
it.
chairs. I mean,
This is over, everybody gets one.
I mean, hey, okay.
Okay,
John wants it.
I'll just share those with the whole commission. Okay, thank you.
This type of study is critical, in my opinion, to what Delaware County looks like in the future. And I had shared with Tracy that John Catino has a grant. I can't remember where the grant's from, but it will include a commerce study and migration study. And I think that those two results, coupled with what Tracy's trying to put together, will help us identify what we want the county to look like in the next 20 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Cowan Industrial Site Infrastructure Installation Update.
I made it a good night, block number 3 by the Fort Wayne office. Brought with me today Phil Morton, he's our project manager on this County Road project. And I'm gonna kind of let him go over kind of more of the details of the project, give you just a brief overview of what it is for those that may not know what it is. And then we'll kind of tell you why we're here today and go from there, so.
Yeah, so it was about a year ago that we were in front of the commission and got approval to start this project. It was March of last year that we noticed some pretty significant drainage issues and started working with Brad to try to develop some solutions. As through that process, in July, we came back to you for an amendment to our original agreement to further look at those and investigate those drainage issues. As things progressed, as we got towards like August and October timeframe, we were working through those with Brad, trying to figure out where we needed to go to get approvals. And then after the election happened, Brad had asked us to pause because he wanted to make sure that everyone that was going to be new to the commission had a chance to get updated and familiarized with the project. So at the moment, we have been paused since about November. And so what we're just wanted to provide you with an update and just figure out exactly who we needed to be in contact with as we move forward to make sure that we are producing the result that the commission is requesting us to do. So that's what we're here for. Obviously, there's a lot more to the project than just that. So if any questions you guys have, we'd be happy to work through that with you today. So thank you.
Anyone have any questions?
Are you going to provide, you said you made a comment, you're going to then provide some additional information, ask for something, you need support?
Yeah, so there's a few things. There's the drainage stuff that we need to address, and that we're kind of at the standstill right now. So we just kind of need some direction if we're moving forward with this project as he's building this, and we kind of are stopped at the moment. If you guys want us to go, we'll just keep moving right along, and keeping this thing going. There's also a traffic related issue, based on, what the assumptions of a potential company that was gonna go in there. We were getting some of that, traffic that they had to generate. We put it into our model, and the improvements that we were constructing as part of our agreement are not gonna be sufficient to handle the traffic, the truck traffic that's coming in and out of there. So there was gonna have to be an additional road that needs to be going in. A lot of that is based on assumptions. So just kind of want to continue that discussion to figure out, okay, if there is a company that's coming in there, maybe we can discuss, what that traffic actually looks like to see if those improvements are actually necessary. That's just kind of, we kind of want to know who we need to be working with and make sure that happens. Those discussions happen, and we can provide those details to that person or to the group. I mean, if it's you guys, I mean, if it's the whole group, we can do that as well.
So who has knowledge of that potential project?
I have a little bit of knowledge.
Okay.
A little bit.
I would like,
I think Bill does too.
you guys have some documentation that you can provide on the area and what the drainage looks like?
Yeah.
What you're proposing right now?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Could you send that to all the board members?
Yeah, we sure.
Yeah.
So we're about probably at 25-30% plans right now. Our deliverable is at 50% and 100%. So we obviously can provide that to you at that time. I mean, we can give you what we have now for sure, and go through it with you.
Yeah.
Happy to come down and sit down with anybody and go through it. Bring our traffic people down if we need to. Make sure that everybody's on the same page as we move forward with this. We just kind of need a little bit of direction to move forward on it.
I would like a scope, what the intent was for the project. I'd like to see that and what you have at this point.
Absolutely.
And we can
And this project is right there on Callan Road by that trail gap. So I don't, I heard BS say that Norfolk Southern was not pleased with some of the structures that are already in place. If we have to add additional traffic lanes for truck, I think maybe there needs to be some level of coordination between the efforts that BS is putting forth on behalf of the county and the efforts that Logan was putting forth.
Yeah, and I think most of our attempt to stay out of the railroad right away. I mean, I will applaud him for dealing with the railroads. I've dealt with them; they're not fun. But our hope is that we stay out of the railroad with all of our improvements. That way, it's not impacting anybody. But certainly, the traffic is going to be very contingent on what business ends up going in there.
And the traffic analysis that we provided, that additional road and everything was outside of the existing right of way and outside of the railroad right of way. So none of our current proposals and the proposals for the project in general touched railroad right of way. It's good news.
So Tracy, you mentioned you might have a little bit of information, and John mentioned that maybe Bill has a little bit of information. Is this a confidential situation? Do we need to set an executive session for the board here to review?
I believe that it still is a confidential matter, yes.
So we probably need to set a date for an executive session to get up to speed. Want to do that now?
I'm good with it if we need everybody, all the players at the table.
I think that can be determined. If they're needed, absolutely. If they're not needed, then I'd rather.
We need to know what project.
They're gonna give us the.
Yeah, we give
the
us
scope.
the scope, for sure.
So, when's this next meeting? 13th?
15th of March.
You wanna do it before then, or you wanna try to do it right after that? The meeting on the 13th, while we're all gathered, we can just use it over here.
Let's do it afterwards.
Okay, so proposal to do the executive session, call it, as soon as this meeting ends on the 13th of March.
Does that work for everyone?
Second.
Thank you.
There's nothing we're gonna lose waiting a month.
No.
Well, the schedule's really on you guys' hands, I think.
I guess I'll look at Bill and Tracy.
Sorry.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, can you call roll on that, please?
Sure. Mr. Keesley.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
This is to set the executive session for March 13th after this regular meeting.
Who do we need to send this up to? John, Bill?
Just go ahead and send it to me and I'll get it there. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, 3710 North Morrison Road, update and ratify amendment 3.
This was discussed, last meeting about an extension for the closing for this, sale of this property at 3710 Morrison Road, which happens to be the fourth parcel that was on the mowing list, so if you don't remember. I think they need another, variance, if I remember right, because they asked for a 30-day extension, isn't that correct?
We had to do, an amendment that it had to be signed before February 1st, so Amber, Ms. Green had to sign that ahead of this meeting, so we do need to take a vote to ratify that decision. The board was made aware of that, but, this is back on there just to ratify the approval of that document.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Who's taking it?
Second and
We just all voted there.
We have a motion and a second. Can you call roll, please?
Sure. Commissioner Waters?
Yes.
Commissioner Brand? Yes. Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Keelan?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes. Okay. Westdale sewage plant. Terry?
My name is Kerry Malco. I just want to introduce myself today. I am a newly elected Westdale board member. There's 5 of us there. The president is Amy Townsend. Vice president is Brittany Mock. Newly elected is Shay Williams, and the other board member is Larry Batt. What I want to do today is just introduce myself and talk a little bit about the discussions you had 2 years ago, which was with the sewage line. I know it didn't happen, but I just came here to ask to see if there was still interest in that. Currently, our past board members have decided to build a new facility there at Westdale. As a new elected board member, I just want to know what our options are. If we don't talk to each other, then I don't know what's going on. But that's the reason why I'm here.
This was a Delaware Regional Wastewater District project that, or you guys looked into it. Bill, can you give us an update? There's some new folks.
Yeah, what the Regional Wastewater District has on, yes. The commissioners had given us money from ARP, and this board also contributed some funds back 2 years ago. I think it was close to $1 million with the two together, if I remember right.
Could have been.
We also did the study from, with Commonwealth, did the engineering and PER and design for the system from Gaston all the way through. Going to 69 in 2 different phases. First phase came to the school, stopped, and then there was a second phase if we wanted to proceed from that. We went into conversations with the school at that time. We met in like September, October. There was a board change. We met after the first of the year. I'm not going to get in the weeds. The project did not move forward. Since then, the ARP money has been used in other projects. That is gone. And then the money that this board had given to that project was rescinded and brought back to the TIF district. So at this current time, there is no plans on the table. There is a PER that it does exist, that it is paid for. I think we paid $60,000 for it. It would only need to be updated to look at the needs or what's going on there. It does. I think Kerry does have a copy of it. I think I got him that. The question I think comes into play, and I would have to verify with Katina Gleason and the town board in Gaston, is the capacity. The capacity was there 2 years ago. I don't know what's there and what changes have been made. I have not had that conversation with her.
So I believe I attended a couple of those meetings that were here last year. You and I provided some input from our respective positions at that time. And if I recall properly, the critical path is the line that runs underneath the school. There's inflow and infiltration that I&I going into that line.
There is currently right now, yes.
Causing, too much water to be treated at and overwhelming their current plant at the school that is
on
And that's
monthly
what we're
reporting.
currently just, working with right now. There will be bids coming in shortly for that, and that's our next step to work on that.
And that has to be done irrespective of a new plant being built or going out to 60.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. That has to be done no matter what. That's the outlet coming from the school.
And that's our next step that we are addressing right now.
So you're getting updated bids, and then you may come back to this board and ask for some support on
It
that.
could be, it's up to the board. I'm just here to introduce myself and introduce and ask the possibility. At the end of the day, it's not a decision of mine, it's a decision that's based upon the board.
All you can do is ask.
That's
So
it, that's exactly what I'm here for.
when you get the updates, come back and
I'm more than happy to, look back into this program again. I think Bill's right, I think we need to talk with Gaston and see if they're willing and able with the capacity, but I'm more than, I think we should try to help.
Well, and
Oh, sorry.
no,
I was gonna say, for this
I think
board's
there's some
information.
education that needs to go on there with all the groups involved, because there was some misunderstanding. I just leave it at that. Because certain things have to be done to know what you're eligible for and to get. Doesn't mean you're committed. But then there's the long-term maintenance and operation of that as well.
And I understand maybe there are some deadlines approaching pretty quick.
There is a deadline.
There's some fast ones, and he asked me about that. I mean, to pull this off before the 13th of March.
Well, I mean, it'd be the end of the March 31st is my understanding. And if our board proceeds to go that direction, our board will take that step if they want to.
Yes.
But
I
that's the
mean,
reason why I'm
that
just
we'd
here.
have to get with the engineer and see if we could get the updates, you know what I mean, to the drawings that, because it's been over 2 years. It's got to be updated.
But once again, that's with our board. But I just want to come here, introduce myself, and then see what might happen.
I have a question
Yes.
for you, and I'm not sure if you will be able to answer this. I've had some parents, because this came to our board multiple times last year, and a couple people were aware that you'd be here today. I've had parents reach out to me about water quality at Westell. I cannot speak to that. I don't have children there. Can you give an update on how this is affecting water quality to the students? How
I'm not
it's
at the
affecting?
official capacity to say
Okay,
on that there, because I don't do the testing, but we do have a gentleman that's on site. They do monthly testing. We get that there, and I am absolutely sure we are fine. If it was an issue, it would have been brought up. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And this project's about sewer, correct?
This
Not
is
about water.
about sewage, yes.
Water out, not water in, just clarifying. Bill, to your point, the overall long term was to extend to 69, right?
For this board, when we discussed it, when you guys approved the study, yes, you were looking at getting it all the way, or getting a figure of what that would be, and then looking at opening up economic development on 28 and 69 on both sides, because there is no utilities there right now.
Which that is currently a TIF district.
Yes, it was set up by this board.
I don't think there's any money in that TIF district though.
It was, you do that in advance to make sure, I mean, prior to anything going in there or anything coming into the deal, so it was set up over the top of it once that study was put out and brought to the board and they decided to go in that direction.
Well, there's $94.38 in it.
So we're not gonna get too far.
Well, that's a start.
So Carrie, you might come back, is what,
It could be,
depends on the will of the
yeah, it's
school
at the
board.
will of the board.
But I guess for me, and I think your point, Commissioner Henry, was regardless of what the school does, we still need to, there's still a need out there.
There's still a need out there, but currently on our table right now, from the past board, we're looking at building a new facility.
I guess I'm just gonna ask, is the consensus of this board that we'd be willing to work with the school board in Gaston again?
I would.
Okay, so there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are skipping 18 since we went over that already. 19, support request for the Innovation Connector 10.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
May I approach and give you some documents? Is that all right?
Thanks for hosting me.
Thanks, Dan.
What I'm bringing to you today is a request for some help with some funding, operational funding for the Innovation Connector for the year 2025. One of the things that, and I did this purposely for you. Notice the chairs you're in, they're really nice today, right? I have it so you can turn around, easily spin and look at the PowerPoint I have for you, okay? So if you're so inclined, that's good. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a statement of impact of what we're doing here at the Innovation Connector, I think. So one of the things that, just to give you some overviews, right now we have 27 resident businesses in here. Outside of the Innovation Connector, we have 450 businesses in our community. And we have a direct impact of over 1,000 entrepreneurs and businesses. That was for year 2024, yes. Couple of highlights that we have, Business Showcase Week, we had 504 attendees that week, a massive week. Matter of fact, we finished 5th in the nation for events and impact. And Indiana ranked globally #1. And we were 5th and they thought that was a good thing. And I don't take 5th very well, so this year we're going to go out to be a #1. I don't like #5. And we had 26 of, and then outside of the showcase week, we had 26 events and 572 attendees just for things we've done. And then in addition, we had over 600 hours that we dedicated to ECI clients as part of the BEST program, the BEST grant program. And that's been a very a fun opportunity to serve people in our community in Delaware County. Whoops, wrong way, sorry. Other things that we do, we have the TechWise Academy, which is our outreach to STEM for kids. In the last 2 years, we've had over 1,500 come through here with different events, robotics, drone programming, gaming. When I talk about gaming, I'm not talking about kids playing games. I'm talking about them designing games and actually developing apps. One day I came in here and there were a good number of, this was a Saturday, there were like 6 or so, 7 or 8 drones flying around our center here, inside these little drones. I'm a member of the Indiana Technology and Innovation Association as well as the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. All of this is to give influence in our community about what we're doing. And then we are part of the Indiana Certified Tech Park system, which is called Ontario Place Certified Tech Park. And in 23, we had 1,115 full-time employees with an average wage of $72,408. Pretty significant numbers. And we're in the midst of getting 24 data right now. Some of our financial overview is our projected expenses for 2025 is $980,000 plus. And due to some issues, our first 9 months are going to be strained with cash flow. We can already tell the difference there. You can see the facility-related expense and the labor costs and program and events and such. 26% of our revenue, the revenue from operations, 35% from grants and contributions, and then 39% from municipalities and such. One of our biggest funders is through the IEDC or through the state of Indiana for certified tech park funding. And that funding will come at the end of probably in November sometime. That is a $250,000 allotment that we earn based on activity in the park. There's legislation right now that we're working on that's going to increase that to $500,000, which will eliminate a lot of issues. And so we're working with the state, and there's bills going through right now. And so this use of funds would just be to help us through the first 3 quarters. And it'll be used for facility and programming and for financial support. And we just continue to outreach. Our footprint has changed so much in the last number of years. We help so many people, and it's amazing the reach we have. I know this is a little bit hard to see if you're here, but just kind of shows a little bit, and this is in your document, about where we are on per month, where we see where we're going to be. And by the end of September, it looks like we'll be about $30,000 in the hole, and that continues. We do have a little bit of reserve, but we're just needing some assistance. And just just to let you know, we have 10 different revenue streams here. So it's not like we're just depending on one branch or whatever. We have 10 different revenue streams. And we have applied for, as you can see here, some grants from the Community Foundation, Ball Brothers Foundation, George and Francis Ball Foundation. And part of that funding goes directly to program. So we get this money for programs from these foundations, but they don't provide money for us to operate, which, you know how that works. So we're investing all of this funding into making a difference in our community, but we need assistance. This building, as I stated in the letter, is growing old. As a matter of fact, it looks nice, but it's almost 17, 18 years old. And it's starting to show some wear and tear to me, because I've been here, this is my 15th year. And so we have HVAC issues, we have all kinds of stuff that we've been dealing with. So the goal here is to continue our mission with just, in the midst of completing a 5-year strategic plan, which is significant for what we're doing. And then one other thing I just want to say that I'm very proud of is what we call our soft landings program. We're only one of about 17 organizations, cities in the world to receive this designation from the the International Business Innovation Association, which certifies us that if a company from overseas wants to come to our community, that once they land here and getting ready to land here, that we will provide them a soft landing, kind of like an airplane or whatever, just a soft landing, that we wrap services around them, and we've known that and this isn't just a designation, this is something that's already happening. And so we're really proud of this. And I know Commissioner Henry probably and Michelle could definitely testify the impact that soft landings and the idea of bringing foreign companies here, the significant impact it's made. So we think of incubation differently. We think of it as how do we impact people, where they're at, who's coming in here, and how do we support them. So the request is for $50,000 for 2025. Your help would be greatly appreciated. One thing I did do is we did secure $50,000 also from the city of Muncie, and that was at the end of last year. And so that's where we're at. And so I just ask for your approval and to move forward with this. It would be greatly appreciated. So can I answer any questions? I'm sure you have some.
Thank you, Ted.
Last year 50,
Yes.
and that was through, I think that was from a combination of TIF districts. I know a question we had last year was, because I think incubators are important, but also helping people move out was important, and that was a concern of this body. There's several well-known long-term tenants.
Sure. Well, and thank you for mentioning that. And here's how we address that. First of all, in the lease agreements that we have with all of our clients, is that there's a clause in there that they can leave within 30 days, if they give us 30 days notice. That allows them that if they outgrow the facility, because we usually have a year lease, or if they're not making it, they can get out. We also have a 30-day clause that we can ask them to leave, which we have done. So we're doing this balance with getting the type of businesses we want in here, at the same time understanding that there's rent revenue that we can gain to help offset some of our costs. So we're very cautious on that. And we go through a vetting process. We just don't let anyone in. But we do that, and people have an understanding that they know that if we ask them to leave, but they're agreed to leave within 30 days. So we always leave it open to that as we market to tech-driven and innovation-driven businesses. And we have asked several people to leave, so to make sure that we have the right people here.
How many new tenants have you had since last year's request?
Here, I would say maybe, and I want to introduce Lori and Natalie. They're on our team here. They make it happen. I just get to do all the
I would say
requests.
between 6 and 8.
Yeah, probably. I was thinking about 8 or so. And so the idea is to churn. I mean, one time a board member said, "Hey, look, it looks like your monthly revenue for lease payments or rent is down." And I said, "I know." And I had a smile on my face. I said, "What's that?" I said,
well, they graduated, they're out, and now we're ready to fill those spots up. So sometimes that shows success. And so we do want to see charity going on. And we know a couple that are here that are getting close to leaving, and we're fine with that. And we don't hold on to people like that. We want them to grow up, be successful, and then move out into the community. And by the way, when they move out, we help them. We don't stop helping them when they move out. And the other thing is, if they need help with space, understanding, we have a client here who is looking for about 8,000 square feet in our community. I've been actively working with them on some, space issues for them and what they kind of need. So it's a full round of thing. And also, this is our staff. We do all of this with 3 of us. Now we have the TechWise, which is a kind of a separate entity, but the same, they have one employee. So we do this on a very minimal staff.
This is a great facility, and Ted does a good job for us, and I think he's not going in and saying everything he does for these new businesses and the time he spends with them. Whenever we have a new or a potential business that wants to move in here, there's always a block that Ted has that he spends with those potential new businesses. And talks to them about the facility and the county and the city. Small businesses, helping small businesses in some of the smaller towns develop business plans and things like that he does. He does a lot of work behind the scenes, but he's not very credible. But I appreciate everything you do. I think this is a great facility, and I'll make a motion to approve that request.
I'll second that motion.
Before roll call, I still have a question. So you have 27 resident clients. Do you have open capacity right now? to take
We have
people?
one open office right now, one open office.
You have a waiting list?
Not per se, not right now we don't. We do have people who, here's the interesting thing, people always will say, hey, look, I'm gearing that way. Let me know when you might have something available. So call that a waiting list, but we've got one on the hook right now, we're waiting. Some of the issues that we have is the facility itself, and that is, as nice as it is, the smaller offices are internal offices with no windows. Those are by far the hardest people to be part of. And usually they're just a 1 or 2 person office. And so those are the ones we're a little bit more lenient on letting people in there. And so some people will say, hey, look, I'd like an office, but I want to make sure we have one. Now, those are more expensive, of course, but yes.
Your 5-year strategic plan, is part of that to eventually be fully self-funded?
Oh, that's the word, yes, sir. We really desire that, and part of this plan is for the Certified Technology Park program to really to come through. That will be a big help for us and for the state, because you don't get the money unless you prove it, you earned it, and it's based on salaries and things like that. So yeah, we are, and we're looking at more program revenue. We're looking at, for instance, last year during Showcase Week, we did all of that free for people, but we had sponsors. And so we went out and raised about $30,000 from sponsors, and we spent that helping people that week just be, empowered. And so we're looking at different avenues for revenue.
Are you willing to share your 2025 budget with the board?
Sure.
Okay. Full budget?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I would be happy to, but I'll tell you what, we're gonna wait till next week. We have a board meeting next week because it was canceled earlier this week, just to get the final approval that yes, it's all done. It's all printed and everything. So it's pretty similar to where we were this year. We don't have a big change.
Do you need the 50,000 now, or would 25
25 would be fine. Just this first 3 quarters are good. We're good through the first quarter now. But it looks like the second and third quarter are going to be the work, the main for us. And so that's why I came in early. So
just a question. The motion is to approve the 50, just to be clear, right?
Correct.
Sure. Ms. Mathers?
Yes.
Mr. Keesler?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Brand?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
thank you very much. And you're always welcome here. And make sure you send people our way. We'll help them. So, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. say annual report update.
I believe that, this is Brent, I think we sent a copy of their report to everybody. This is just for information on where they are. They're good about giving us this information and updating us, so I just include that for your consideration.
No action needed there, Fred?
Thanks, John. Thanks, Dave.
21, scanning documents. This is a discussion that Danielle and I had last week, I believe.
So I was asked to come up with an estimate on what it would cost to scan all of the documents for this entity into our system, which is really hard to do. We did get some pricing for scanning at, I don't remember if it was Staples or FedEx.
FedEx.
It was 10 cents a page, I think. So what?
No, 40 cents a page.
Sorry, 40 cents a page. So what we did was we took all of the boxes that Brad had collected for us. We separated them into claims, economic development agreements, resolutions, ordinances. The claims are already scanned in and with the auditor's office, so there's a big chunk that does not need scanned in our opinion, for those. I brought Amber in and kind of showed her the office that we took captive with all of the boxes. I don't know how to put a dollar figure on it. There are a few boxes that are bound that would have to be unbound to be scanned in. A majority are not like that. They're easy, take out of a binder, scan in regularly. But I wanted Amber to see it to help, I guess, me with how to describe it to you guys. I'm not sure how to put a number on it. It's going to take hours to do. Our thought was we could just get an intern in, someone in college or something to come in and do it cheaper than having one of our paralegals work on it. But I wanted her to be able to talk about it to you guys.
Yeah, it's probably, just off the top of my head, I would assume it's at least 24 boxes that are completely full, some that aren't. I mean, I was shocked when she took me in there, and then seeing everything, so much of it is bound and would need to be, you have to be careful taking that apart, make sure you're not ruining the document. So she's not exaggerating at all, and it would be weeks worth of hours, in my opinion.
And our concern is it has to be scanned in at some point to be accessible, like we need it to be accessible, because right now, when I'm asked a question to go find something, I'm digging through boxes. And so it takes time to do that. And I understand it, you have to pay for the hours to do that, but I don't know how we operate effectively without having those documents scanned in.
Question, can you, are they divided in years?
Yes. Yeah, and so we
Start.
definitely can start with the most recent, which is what I have at the top. So like the most recent claims are at the top, and we're looking through those, the most recent ordinances and resolutions that we have to go back to, but.
Starting what year, do you know?
Like the oldest year?
Yeah, what's the oldest year, do you know?
Oh gosh,
2015.
there's stuff older than that. Some of the agreements and things there, I can look today and tell you, but I know there's stuff older than 2015 with some of the old agreements and contracts that were in place.
To me, it almost presents a couple of challenges. One, there's a volume of work, but then two, how do you search it? So if you're searching it by year, but let's just say you're working on an industrial trail, that goes multiple years, and then how is it searchable? So it's not just what it's scanned into, which makes it worse.
Well, and right now it's not searchable at all unless you just manually wanna look at it all.
So I guess my point was, if we went back, say, 7, 8 years, would that get us far enough where most of the stuff we would be working on would be accessible? And then, you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Versus scanning it all.
2015, yeah.
I don't know that we'll ever need some of those old documents, although they would be available to go back and look for. But maybe scan in for the past 5 years and then go from there.
And this, I mean, this is an option, I mean, we can, see what Bill thinks too, as you know, we have interns at BCI, and they have some things. So, I mean, if that's an option, if you guys would, you know, let them possibly go spend maybe 4 or 5 hours a week and help her get these scanned in, and, I mean, that's an option too.
Is that agreeable, Bill?
I'm sorry, I was in a
Could-
conversation
could
the
we-
whole way, I apologize.
Could
Just
we-
nod yes? Okay, I
could we
everybody saying,
potentially- Could we potentially use some, one of your interns or two, maybe 4 hours a week to
Help scan it.
help scan that information in?
Help scan the documents.
yeah,
Danielle
Michelle
has.
can arrange that. I've got some interns right now. Hopefully another grant gets approved, I'll have 4 more for another year. So, yeah, I mean,
And Michelle did go, she knows exactly what's in there because she helped pack them all up and go through it as well, so she has seen.
I mean, we're looking at over, I mean, what do you think? 4 or 5 plus $1,000 or 1,000 pages of documents.
Oh,
I mean,
easily.
This is a lot, and it's gonna take some time.
Michelle, reach out to Ann and see if she's got the available time. She does let her, put her over there and let her work with them.
Are you guys, I mean, do we need to make a motion on that?
I think personally, I would scan in, past 5 years and leave it at that and see how.
Make that a motion.
Is that a
Yeah,
motion,
I'll
Shannon?
I'll make that a motion, yeah.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yep.
Ms. Batters,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Bowers, for
No problem.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And then I'll send out an email to everybody letting you all know her, her availability of the days that she could go over. Thank you.
Alright. Next is discussion regarding hiring an executive director. This was brought up in last month's meeting. I think this is something that's necessary. We've been putting the bulk of our work on Danielle and John. And I would guess that's probably conflicting with your regular jobs as well.
It's all about spinning plates. Just keep them spinning, make sure they don't fall off.
I don't think any have fallen off this year so far, and it's appreciated. Previously, it was hired by the commissioners, correct?
Yes.
It was a combination of edit and TIF dollars.
Right.
I don't know if we can solve this problem today.
Well, I think we can, need to talk about, so I appreciate Brooke Struble, ECI and Tracy and everybody, herding cats here. I think we need to get the ball moving on getting somebody in place to do these administrative duties and perform the daily operations and functions of record keeping. Present the agenda, getting the packets and asking for approvals and all those things. I put together a proposed job description. I shared it with President Green. I don't know if you agree, but maybe that could be shared with the rest of the board. And we could look at, putting a little ad hoc committee together that is not a majority of this board to post an interview and, try to recruit somebody to do the job. And they could still be paid for the same way they were before, but they would report to the board.
I would agree with that.
Works for me. You need like a motion to establish a committee to post and hire someone to perform the administrative duties. Assuming you'll send out the job description so we get a good net. And then who will be on the committee? Because I'll make this motion, but you know who's gonna be on it. Mr. Commissioner Brand.
I'll do it, for sure.
I'd be
I
happy
think we all need to take a look at the job description first, because I've not.
I agree.
I've not seen it.
I agree. I want to share it with President Green. And please beat it up. I have no pride in authorship, right? I mean, it's just a recommendation.
So you made the motion?
Yeah, the description would be shared with all of us, would provide our input, and then the committee would be established, and they would, that way it can work outside of this meeting without a full majority of the body.
Get that, John?
I'm working.
I'll second.
Say who's on.
Always hates it, don't start. All right, call roll on that, please.
Sure. Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Banners,
Yes.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Do you want to designate committee members of the board now?
it's up to the board.
You want to establish committee, ad hoc committee members?
I think that would be a good idea. I don't think waiting until the next meeting is going to serve us well.
So I would nominate President Green. I will do it if no one else wants to do it, and I would recommend, well, we can't have three, right? So does
You
somebody else
can't have
want?
three, you just can't have four.
Okay,
So
so
what you have,
It's fine.
there are five, that's right, you can have,
we can't have three.
cannot have.
So if no one else wants to do it, I will assist.
So whoever wants.
And this is schedule interviews and conducting the interviews and vetting and making recommendations to the rest of the board and all that stuff.
Is that a motion for me and you?
Are we doing this as a motion, or do I need to amend my, or we already voted?
So
So make the motion.
So
Amber can appoint the committee.
Oh, yeah, Amber points, we go, we're done.
Okay.
I wanna vote twice.
Which brings up another discussion is, under the statutes, the redevelopment commission can establish bylaws on how to operate the meetings and set up committees and do all that kind of thing. But this commission really never has, not that I'm aware of. And so that may be something for a discussion further on down the road.
I think the committee at that time needs to establish some bylaws and
I propose to set back in January. I'll be glad to resurface those for consideration of the board.
All right, are we good there?
Yep.
On to interlocal agreement with Monroe Township trustee.
See,
I don't either.
I actually sent that to you guys back in January. That was, I've been trying to send you stuff as we go because it's not this, I would be this big this month. That was a request from the Monroe Township trustee. He said that the only way he was able to pay Mr. Cooper was through an interlocal agreement. I think the State Board of Accounts came in and had advised him he needed that. I drafted that, sent it, it's been a few weeks ago. So you guys, it was just for your consideration to approve that interlocal agreement.
It's just an interlocal agreement that's between us, between the redevelopment commission and Monroe Township trustee for the purpose of the town sidewalk project.
this is specifically for the trees.
Just to replace some of the trees.
So we've paid Cal, the trustee needs this
Correct.
interlocal to pay Coos.
Right, yeah.
You guys already approved the resolution, approved the project, the trees have already been planted, he just needed this document for the State Board of Accounts.
Did we place a pause on some of the trees being planted or?
We talked about it, but they've already been planted.
They had already, yeah, I asked, Mr. Cooper after the meeting and they had been planted prior to our last board meeting.
Okay.
So the plan on the north side, obviously they haven't done anything on the south side yet. And so, after she contacted me, we'd already put them in the ground, so.
I make a motion to approve the interlocal.
Second.
Roll call please.
Ms. Banners,
Yes.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Table business.
You guys requested information on your RAI dues. This was, when we came to the last meeting, we just had kind of a pile of stuff that we were trying to figure out, what was due, what hadn't been done. This was one that you guys had requested additional information on. We reached out to them and I forwarded the email with their information on what the organization does, the meetings they have, renewal term being July through June. So it's back for your consideration if you wanna take it off the table and either move forward with dues for 2025, or if you wanna wait until after June and then just do a new cycle for the next term. I don't know why it renews in July, that's kind of
Weird.
funky, but that's what it is, so.
And I'll make a motion to move it off the table.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call on that please.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yep.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Make a motion to pay the REI dues if we need that. Do we need that? Sounds like we do.
Yes.
Starting in June.
Sure. As long as it's paid on time.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, roll call please.
Yes. Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Mr. Keesley.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yep.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Okay. Next on table business is USI insurance renewal.
Make a motion to pull that off the table.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, roll call please.
Hang on a second. Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Mr. Keesley.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
And I'll make a motion to,
I think this is a ratification vote for the, because these were due by February
yeah.
1.
So they've already been done.
They've already been done, yes.
so do we need a motion then?
Ratify the action. Okay.
Well,
We had to fill these
No.
out, right?
they had to update, I was pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 450 I don't think was approved the last meeting because we didn't have the updated board members, so I think the 450 is on your claims for this month.
Yes.
So it's actually
Yes,
approving
yeah.
the new, bonds.
So I think
There's a lot
Commissioner
of
Henry filled out, you know, the paperwork and submitted it. Yep. Direct. So this,
So I think that Michelle motioned to approve the new paperwork that was submitted.
Second.
I'm wrong. Okay, so roll call on that please.
Commissioner Brand.
yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Mr. Keesley.
Yes.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Okay. Issue bids for Park 1 second entrance.
This is just on there because it's tabled. They still don't have all the information from NDOT yet. They're still waiting on some permits and some approval, so it's just gonna be continued on, until we get some more information. So there's nothing to do on this one, just they're waiting on NDOT for some driveway permits.
Just leave it, keep it on the table.
Okay. And then Garrett Cooper.
Hello, I'm Garrett Cooper, Cooper's on Landscape. I think I talked to you guys in September, I believe, about helping out with an asphalt project. The city, obviously, we're right inside city limits, so it's kind of an odd situation for you guys. I'm like right on the line of county and city, so I originally came with Brad, talked to you guys about that. You guys instructed me to go to the city. Said you guys were possibly interested in helping, but wanted to see what the city would do for us first, since we were technically in city limits. The city then came to us and told us to go to the revolving loan fund. When we got a loan for our building, we weren't able to go out and get any more loans without speaking to the bank. The bank then kind of countered back and was like, don't go through the revolving loan fund, which they all kind of countered each other and talked about it. Prime Trust, which is who our loans through, actually was able to come through and give us enough money to get our base of our asphalt done. That's being required by the city. But now, come springtime or March or April, we're requesting $68,000 for the finish coat. That's kind of where I'm at with it right now. We've kind of burned up all of our funds trying to make this project happen. So I just looking to see what you guys might be able to help us with on it.
Is the base the only thing that's required by the city?
It just says it needs to be asphalted. It doesn't say need to have a base coat. It said I either had to have concrete, asphalt, or chip and seal. So I can tell you the base is already not going to hold up without it having that top fine coat. It's already starting to do what it's not supposed to do. So
Because of the porosity.
yeah. Yep. So the base is like bigger stone with asphalt mix, and the top coat will be like real fine, which is like what you see on the roads and stuff. So, like we talked before, the gravel obviously is never gonna work in our facility. But our goal here is eventually to have sales out front. Like I spoke about before, the money I'm having to spend on asphalt that's being required has now put that project on building another building and building bulk bins for bulk materials and being able to sell plants. That money has now been taken to use for asphalt, which has been required. So I'm just trying to find a way to get this project finished up and meet everybody's requirements in the city. So that's kind of where
Where's
I'm
the
at.
facility at? Callan Road, right where Garrett Auto Sales used to be, where Ray Garrett Autos was, at Callan Road. Which is right there on the line.
So, and the original cost for the base was $120,000, if that matters. And E&B is doing the work. They were the best price I could actually get. So out of the three companies I called, so
Who were the three you called?
I called E&B, I called Brooks First, and there's a company out of Newcastle. I can't remember him, but I thought he was gonna be my guy because he was a lot smaller company. He was the most expensive. So,
That happens.
so.
There's one other company's been quoting for the county recently. Milestone and Midwest, is it Midwest Paving and Milestone?
Midwest Paving also did one for Delaware.
That's right.
Midwest Paving.
Midwest Paving and maybe Milestone might help you a little bit there. So I'd like to help if we can, but I still think we need to find out where we're gonna be with these.
I agree. I think, I'd like to see a couple more bids.
Sure.
And then, that'll give us time to see where we're at with our.
And I don't care to call Brooks First back and say, hey, I've got the base down. What would you guys be wanting to do? I'll call Midwest and Milestone. Yeah, that's fine.
Just out of curiosity, did the Muncie's Redevelopment Commission ever let you get on the agenda, or was there automatic response to go through the revolving loan fund?
That was the second time they told me to go through the automatic loan, the revolving loan fund. So, yeah, I got in front of them, and I can't remember the guy's name that helped me over there. Who kind of does like
Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff. Yep, that's who helped me out and that kind of got me in front of the board. And I thought it was good, and then I can't remember what one of the guys didn't care for. So,
If you could have some quotes by the next meeting,
sure,
please come back.
Yep.
Absolutely.
If we didn't remove the table, we'll just keep it on the table.
Yes.
Exactly.
Alright, invoices. I have some questions on invoices.
Go for it.
The AT&T ARP broadband, there's two, one for $214,500, one for $99,000. What is that?
This was an ARP, an ARP fund project for broadband under the commissioner's plan. Brad and the Redevelopment Commission were spearheading getting quotes for putting broadband in rural areas of the county. And this is part of a project that AT&T has throughout the state of Indiana on adding broadband to rural areas that are not really served by normal cable companies and service. So this was one of the things that were identified in the commissioner's ARP plan from 2021 or 22. And so they're complete with that project, and so it's just payment to them. It's coming out of the ARP funds, dedicated project, can't remember the number, but it's dedicated. But Brad was instrumental in getting the quotes and working with AT&T on doing the parameters for this project.
I have a supplemental question on it. So this ran through ECI. Bill, do you know what areas these?
I was just getting ready,
Thank
but one, I think the 99 was Delville, the other area was up around Albany. Maybe just south of Albany there, around on the other side, east side of Delta. Those were some of the hardest areas they're not dense. So the bid or the program was to get the ones that were not like right in the middle of the city. I mean, these were hard to reach customers. So we used the ARP money and the funding there to reach out to there during the next level connection 4. Now we're going into the B. As I had just gotten letters from you, we're going into the next rounds now of trying to reach more of those people that have trouble getting internet service to them because they're not favorable by companies to run the lines out there.
and AT&T is the one that proposed the area that they could service with money. Yes.
And they go through the state as well, because we did the challenges, we know where the areas are that need fiber and do not have the speeds up or down from testing and from challenges. So those were the first 2 projects that were done, and like I said, I just received 2 more on the next feed that you guys have sent out. One I did provide you a map with. The second one, I can't remember which one it was still working on those with engineering.
There are several farmers that need the help, like cattle farms out
Yes.
by Daleville, and a couple up by Eaton, and in the really remote areas. You know, they're highly technical these days, and they have their own Wi-Fi.
We have, ECI has a fellow on the ground we have for 3 years now, solely on broadband. And the main focus, we do a lot of digital learning and a lot of training of people, but agriculture has been the #1 concern of getting this ran out there so that our equipment, the future equipment, we can meet the needs of what we're gonna have to have in our area.
So Bill, if you can refresh my memory, you had probably a dozen people developing a countywide broadband that plan that fed into the ARP allocation. Or am I thinking, like, you had a pretty comprehensive plan for
Yes.
broadband that was put together before ARP was on the table.
Yes, we've been working on it.
Years blur together, but I mean, this is a 5+ year project.
This is gonna be longer than that. The money may run out in the programs that's been federal and state legislated, but as Mr. Brand has pointed out, agriculture is the #1 thing. We're still trying to reach all those. I've even been in conversations with you, and we're looking at every avenue trying to get, there's possibilities everywhere, and it's trying to bring those together in the most efficient way.
There was a story on Indiana Business News on Sunday that talked about this project AT&T was doing in Mention, Delaware County, as one of the counties that was involved in getting the rural broadband out there, along with Madison and Jefferson and several other counties.
This identified beyond where the provider said there's broadband. It actually went deeper. And I know it identified some needs near Eaton and Gaston.
Yep.
Whereas AT&T would say there's plenty, and so the commissioner stepped into the air.
Exactly.
I had to think of it because it's been a few years on.
Yes, we're reaching the hard, we're going after the hard to reach people that the companies haven't provided service to at this time.
Other questions? I'm out of comments.
I do not. Are there other questions on invoices?
I do. On the Brook Street wall, 732250, but that only covers your current fees. There's a prior balance on there that you don't want to pay for that.
Well, that claim was your January bill, and we were just waiting on the auditor.
You'd like to pay the prior balance too, right?
So it's been approved and just not yet paid from January's meeting?
Yes.
Okay, that's my first question.
We do want paid, but I don't want double paid.
Okay, well, second question, the first American structure point for 479.48. There were a couple different sets of documentation sent for that. And I'm wondering if the last American structure point on the claims, also the Morrison TIF for 718.98, is that somehow a duplicate of the packet that was sent? So what was originally sent was the 479.48, but then I believe, Danielle, you recognized some errors and made some corrections. I can bring my packet around and show you if you'd like. But I believe that might be the same claim. One was incorrect and one is a corrected.
Which one's incorrect?
I would say, my guess is the 479.48 is incorrect, and the 718.98 is correct. Because there was a second email came late yesterday or early yesterday.
The 718.98 was an email sent, and I don't remember them saying it was a corrected.
They're both for Bridge 75.
Right. I need to look deeper at that.
They have the same designation of it.
Or maybe we were getting so much yesterday that I kept having to correct. And I can look at you.
Yep.
Or John, do you want to do some posters to get out of it?
I was gonna get the,
Or not.
and that one.
This is one of the, substantiation behind it. This one. That ties out. And this was it.
Yes.
It's 1798, so both now. But I think it's,
Oh, they have different designations, that's why I thought they were two different. And I can clarify with American Structure Point, but I thought they were two separate.
they're the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they vote for Bridge 75?
yeah.
American Structure Point?
Yeah.
And they're both designation 2201635.
So what have they changed here? Here's what changed is their environmental.
So I believe 7998 needs to be stricken from the claims, and the 71898 is the correct American Structure Point for the Morrison TIF for Bridge 75.
She's not here anymore. She has
Yeah, she left.
Mr. Mayor, could you say which one to strike again?
My opinion is the very first American Structure Point, the third one down for 47948, is incorrect. And the next to the bottom one, American Structure Point 71898, I believe those are the same claim. They're for the same variation, for the same designation number.
So the 718 is the updated.
I believe that one's correct.
Back page is completely.
And that came in my mail late yesterday. This is what I understood.
Why don't we make a motion to pay
Why
the
don't you
claims
table
with,
those two?
well, why don't we make a motion to pay them with, you looking into those two claims and making sure the right one gets paid? Instead of waiting another.
Yeah, for sure. I want to get them paid. I just want to, I don't think we need to pay them both.
No, I agree.
One of them gets paid.
Or if we do, we should look into it, then get a hurricane.
So I'll make that. Which one's motion, yours or?
I made the motion that we pay those invoices, questioning the two from American Structure Point, you're gonna look into that.
A second.
Are you pulling those separately from the rest of the invoices with that motion?
Are there any other questions
Yeah, that's
on any other invoices?
where I was going with that.
Go ahead.
I don't have any other questions, but I wanna make sure no one else has any other
Okay, that's fine.
questions. And to clarify that motion.
You're paying all the claims but those two?
I wanna pay them,
Okay.
but I want her to investigate those two prior to payment.
And I will send you all, like I have been every day, an update on the correct amount. And just for future reference, until you hire a director, are you okay as people are sending me all this mass information, sending it as I get it, like I have been doing, or am I driving you crazy?
Send it as you
Yeah,
get
send
it.
it as you get it, please.
I'm capable of taking it in.
Sure, it's okay.
The second American Structure Point on there, it says ARP Shell Building,
That's the Delaware project,
the 108410.
yes, by the Quick Trip. The project that they're working on to get the utilities back there.
That's the lines that run back to the 8 acres you own, on the, west side of the Shell Building,
Okay.
between the interstate and Shell Building.
Because in the description it says County Road 600 intersection. So
That's right, that's what the bill is for.
So at the last meeting, we made a motion to stop the study at 600 west and 400 south. That's $625,000. And we asked, Mr. Brook asked American Structure Point,
Oh,
what's
I'm
the
sorry.
cancellation claim? And is this that cancellation?
I'm sorry, that is correct. I will update the ARP Shell Building, designation. That is not what that comes out of.
Okay, so for the board, that $625,000 that we stopped is $1,084.10.
Yes. Thank you for catching that. I'll update that.
And so the industrial center.
Industrial.
Do they have any documents that they prepared for that?
To substantiate it? I don't know.
They said they sent us some, we haven't received it yet.
Okay.
I sent a request in yesterday.
It's coming from, but
bouncing for the postal service, that's for sure.
I'm good.
Okay, so Shannon, was your motion to approve all claims?
Yes.
Okay, can you call roll on that, please?
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Batters,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes. Alright, and then bond and bot invoices, any questions on those?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call on that, please.
Ms. Batters,
Yes.
Mr. Keesling,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Angie had, I saw that, invoice, so I was asking if we would move it to the next meeting, but that's fine.
Do we have any comments from the public?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Christopher Bilbrey. I've been trying to get this figured out for a while, and I appreciate Ms. Struvel's response. I've talked to her about this. In November, you guys paid a claim in here in this room for $100, and the description of the claim was conference call with Bill regarding SBOA and FBI meeting. And when Brad was asked about this, the answer Brad gave off record was that this was something to do with someone that was, I guess, impersonating an FBI agent or something like that. They came in with a placard and they had to turn this over to the other law enforcement or something, which didn't really make sense. But the problem I have, number one, is that specifically did not jive with what Ms. Struble told me. What Ms. Struble told me was that this was a claim that you guys got inadvertently, but ahead of the meeting, she had made Brad aware and that it had been taken care of. Although apparently Brad never made you guys aware of that because you guys went ahead and paid the $100 claim. What Struble told me was that this claim was not your responsibility. So my question is, have you guys been paid back the $100 that you should not have paid? If it wasn't your claim, whose bill in the county did it go to? And what exactly was it for? Because I've gotten two different answers. And I mean, I know it's just $100, but it's $100, and that does seem concerning. So if you guys want to focus on that or deal with that, I would think that somebody would want to clear this up.
Thank you.
You guys did not pay that $100. So your original packet had that, it was the very first line on that invoice. That was for another one of our clients. Brad is aware of that situation. That is why he had the information. What he told him is true. He was wearing an FBI badge or lanyard, I guess you call it. That was taken off. I sent Brad an updated claim. I don't know that he sent it to you guys. I had Michelle and Bill look in his email when Bilber sent me the request. They did not find that he ever sent an updated invoice to the board before the meeting. I can't speak for why he didn't do that. When the claim was submitted, the $100 was not on the claim that was submitted. It was $100 less than that original invoice that you saw, but it was consistent with the invoice that I submitted to Brad before your meeting. So there isn't an inconsistency in the stories. It's just, I guess, for clarification, it's confusing.
Is there a problem that the invoice that we approved, because I distinctly remember this, the invoice that we approved did have that line item on it, and that amount with the $100 was what was approved. So
I think there was a discussion at the meeting it was correct at the meeting, and what we got paid was the invoice less than $100.
It was not corrected in the meeting.
Yeah, it was not correct.
Okay, well then we got paid the invoice less than $100. Brad made the adjustment evidently in the claim to the auditor.
So an amendment is not required by us?
No, we just adjusted our bill and what we got paid what work was appropriate for the redevelopment division.
And it
You
was
paid,
not
you
another,
agreed to pay the claim.
Right,
We
yes.
adjusted it to take that off.
and to answer your question, it was not another county client.
Was it a governmental client?
Now, what It's confidential, it is attorney-client discussion.
I mean, I'm not asking who, I'm just saying, was it a government, I mean, SBOA, the State Board of Accounts, they don't deal with like McDonald's or, you know, Muncie's and on.
No, but they deal with areas that have, that they investigate other areas that are not governmental, but.
Okay, very good.
Any other comments from the public? Yes.
Rick Yenser, newsman and author. I got it here, I don't know, about 45 minutes ago. Didn't see an agenda posted, saw no agenda available. Made requests for records, which weren't made available. Couple of issues that I remember hearing at the last meeting about this Cowan sidewalk project. We couldn't find any agreement with the government on it. I guess the day you signed an interlocal with the township trustee because some people wondered why they're cutting down long old trees for a sidewalk near a school where the kids usually come by bus or car. And I've got a couple other record requests in too. I would encourage county government to be a little bit more open and a little bit more transparent, because regardless of what you think and how the country is going with control by an executive, government has many layers, and they still have to abide by state and federal records law. So when you get around to it, I would like an agenda. I'd like some minutes from last meeting and some records on this Cowan sidewalk project, because I think it amounts to $500,000 or more, I don't know.
Well, it was discussed prior to you arriving today that the agenda and the packet are going to be posted to the website. And my request would be at least the Tuesday before the Thursday meeting.
Well, they're not now, but do you have a paper copy that I can look at here?
They're waiting on the table.
Yeah, take this one.
Oh, thank you. And the minutes from the last meeting, is there a paper copy around here of that too?
You can forward a copy to me.
Well, then you got my email, John. Thank you.
I do.
Thank you.
Other public comments? Any questions or comments from the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call roll on that, please.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. Brand.
Yes.
Ms. Batters.
Yes.
Mr. Keeler.
Yes.
Ms. Reed.
Yes.